Hello everyone, my name is Ujjwal and welcome to the channel. In this video, we are going to discuss two interesting games played in the Meltwater Champions Chess 2 Aimchess Rapid Prelims. In total, 16 number of participants are playing this tournament, including the world champion Magnus Carlsen. So definitely the tournament is extremely strong, and today we are going to discuss the two games played in the first day of the Aimchess Rapid. So the game is going to be very interesting. So let's check it out. So in the first game, we have the game between two best rivalries, Anish Giri versus Vidit Gujrathi. Both the players are extremely close friends to each other, and at the same time, they are rivals of each other. So Anish is playing with white pieces in the second round of the Meltwater Championships 2, and its rapid event having the time control of 15 minutes plus 10-second increment. So what happened in the game? So let's quickly check it out. So Anish with the white pieces starts out the game with 1c4, whereas Vidit replied with e6, knight c3, d5, d4, and here we have knight f6. So we have the Slav. We have the exchange variation, c into d5, e into d5. We have the queen's gambit decline exchange variation. So after e into d5, it's a very solid setup. I would say it's a very positional setup, as white have traded the pawns of c with the e pawn. So now you all, like, if you are a good positional player, it's a very healthy position for you. You can definitely go for playing up this same line as Anish. But if you are attacking player, I would not recommend you to play this. So after e to d5, we have bishop to g5, bishop to e7 by Vidit, e3, short castle, bishop to d3, rook e8, knight f3, h6. So basically, with simply castles till now and developing the bishop to e7, the idea of developing the bishop to e7 is so that, like, the bishop is protecting the knight. That's the whole idea. And now he's playing h6, stopping any back rank mates in the future and also hitting the bishop. Bishop comes back to f4, putting some pressure on the pawn on c7. c5 with it, as we know that he's like a destroyer. He likes to attack. He's a very attacking player. He's not more type of a silent player. He likes to attack. He's more like a fire. So he played c5, dc, bishop c5. So the reason I'm saying that he's playing like a fire, because he played c5, and after c5 there is an exchange of the pawns in the center, and what is happening is now the d pawn is simply an isolated pawn, which simply gives a slight advantage to Anish already. But at the same time, the d5 pawn also grabs some serious space to the black, so which allows black to develop his pieces tremendously. So bishop to c5, short castle by white, knight to c6. So if you want to ever get rid of the isolated pawn, you must strike with the pawn in the center by playing something like d4 in the future. You must always have an idea of striking in the center by playing d4, something like that. So after knight c6, we have rook to c1 by Anish, doing nothing special, simply castling, developing his pieces, playing rook c1, putting some pressure on the bishop on c5. So after rook c1, we have bishop to g4, pinning up the knight, h3, hitting the bishop, also getting rid of the back rank ideas in the future, having the h2 square for the king. Bishop to f3 by Vidit, queen to f3, and here finally we have d4 by Vidit. So he's going to get rid of the isolated pawn. That's the reason he played d4, as I told you. Knight to e4, so like not going for capturing the pawn because we have bishop into d4. It's still a fine position, it's an equal position, nothing's happening. But he played knight to e4, trying to make things a bit more interesting. First of all, the bishop is now attacked on c5. So bishop to e7 was played in the game. I would say bishop to b6 was slightly much more accurate. The reason is, for example, after rook f to d1, black can simply capture the pawn, bishop into, and here black can actually trade the bishops. And it's a fine position, equal position. Black is having no problem in this position. It's a very interesting position it's a very good position for width, I would say. But bishop to e7 was played. And if I show you the same line that happened in the game after rook f g1, here we have queen to b6 by Vidit. In this position, if you try to capture the pawn, bishop into e3, and as we can say, the bishop is bad on e7 compared to the bishop on e3. And now both the bishops are extremely strong. so which simply gives a tremendous advantage to white already. But queen to b6 was played by Vidit, and now came the move bishop into h6, giving up the bishop. So what Anish thought was that if Vidit tries to capture the bishop, simply knight takes check, bishop into queen into, and white is the pawn up. Blocking is tremendously weak. It's a completely winning position for white. I would say simply queen f5. Queen h7 is a great threat. So very comfortable position for white. But after bishop into h6, I think Vidit already saw this and he came up with the move knight to b4. After knight to b4, the bishop is simply attacked. So here, Anish, excellent move by Anish, bishop to c4. Many players in this position try to move the bishop like something like bishop f4, and after bishop f4, knight to d3. Let's take a knight to f6 check, bishop to f6, rook into d3, queen into b2. It's a equal position of c into d4. It's equal position, nothing special. So this is what was it thought. But Anish came up with the excellent move, bishop c4, giving up the bishop and capturing the pawn on d4 now. Rook into d4. So basically, what's happening in this position is Anish is a piece down, but in the exchange, he's got 2 pawns and great attacking chances on the black king. So after rook into d4 already, I think Vidit was not prepared for this, and he played king h8. It's a very natural human move. You want to put the rook on g8 and stuff like that. Rook to d6. Excellent move by Anish. I think I should have told you guys to find this move, but it doesn't matter. Rook to d6. Hits the queen. Hits the knight. Knight is having the triple attack. Like a common move in this position would have been to simply play rook a to d8. It's a fine move. Still, white is having the slight advantage. White is better, but it's the best for black. But king h8, rook d6, extremely interesting move by Anish, an excellent move. Rook d6. So in the game, we have knight to c6. If black goes for capturing the rook, if you got moving the queen doesn't make any sense because I can simply play takes and it's completely win. I've given up the rook for 2 minor pieces, extremely great chances to attack, and it's so. That's the reason knight c6 was played. If bishop into d6, we have queen into f6 check, king move, queen check, king move. You can't go king f8, it's a mate in one. So king h8, queen check, checkmate. So that's the whole variation. That's the reason knight to c6 was played in the game. Now rook into f6, queen into b2, queen to h5. Again, a fantastic move by Anish. Sacrificing the rook, then the bishop, but in the exchange, he got the king. And the interesting thing is, Vidit actually allowed Anish to checkmate him. Perhaps showing some respect to Anish. For finding this bishop c4 was an interesting and a fantastic move, I would say. First, bishop c4 is a fantastic move, and second, finding rook d6 simply awesome. Adding some spices in the game, I would say. Interesting game. So this was the second round of the Aimchess Rapid, a interesting gameplay by Anish to beat Vidit Gujrathi. Now we are going to discuss the second game, and this game is between Shakhriyar Mamedyarov versus Anish. And Shakhriyar Mamedyarov, as you know, is a very great attacking player. He's playing with the white pieces, so let's check it out what happened in the game. In the second game, Shakhriyar Mamedyarov is playing with the white pieces and Anish Giri is playing with the black pieces. So Shakhriyar Mamedyarov with the white pieces starts out the game with 1d4. And Anish Giri with the black pieces replies with knight f6. Knight to c3, very uncommon move by Shakhriyar, usually with the white pieces in the lower level and even in the amateur level. The most common moves are c5, the queen's gambit, or playing the London. But he plays knight c3, d5, bishop to f4, e6, knight to b5. So basically white is going for the pawn on c7, and now there are 2 ways to defend the pawn on c7, by playing bishop to d6 or by playing knight to a6. Both the ideas is to protect the pawn on c7. In the game, we have knight to a6. The reason Anish didn't went for the move bishop to d6, the reason is quite simple. He didn't want to give up the bishop for the knight. That's the reason. Knight to a6, e3, bishop to e7. As I told you, that developing the bishop on d6 Doesn't make any sense because of the knight to d6. We're giving up the good bishop for the bad knight. So bishop to e7, h4 by Mamedyarov. He's going for the attack on the king side. Short castle by Anish. He doesn't care. Knight to f3, c6, hitting the knight back. Queen to b6, and now hitting the pawn on b2. a3 by Mamedyarov. And all the guys who think that black queen can capture the pawn, it's not working because of knight f4. The queen is trapped. Sub c5 by Anish, and finally we have bishop into a6 capturing the knight. Queen into a6, and as we can see that the queen is covering the f1 square, so white king can no longer castle. So h5 by white, so the idea is to simply play h6, attack on the black king. So Anish chops it by playing h6, and now white plays g4. g4, the idea is quite simple. White wants to attack on the king side by playing g5. So black simply captures it, rook g1, and attack, and white is hitting the knight, hitting the king, and white is having the open g5. So black simply defends it by playing f5, and it looks like black is having a completely fine position. Black is putting the pawn on f5. The knight cannot be moved from the g4 square. So it looks like black is having a good time. Black is the pawn up. So Mamedyarov played knight to e5 in the position. C into d4, e into d4, and here we have bishop to f6 by Anish. And from here, Mamedyarov played something like that Anish didn't expect it. First, we have rook into g4 giving an exchange sacrifice. fg4, queen g4. And after queen into g4, after taking around 7 minutes, as we know the time format of the game is 15 minutes plus 10-second increment. So Anish Giri spending 7 minutes or 8 minutes, he finds the best move, b5. I don't know what's the idea part, but perhaps the idea could be to play queen b7, defending the pawn on g7. Bishop into h6, queen to b7. And like for example, at the place of b5, if black tries to move the king, I don't know where it can go. If black tries to do king h8, we simply have long castle, rook g1, and the game go. That's the reason b5 takes queen b7, defending the pawn on g7. Long castle now, h5, a5, simply now going for the attack. And here knight to b5, again a fantastic move played by Shakhriyar Mamedyarov. Queen into b5, sacrificing the knight, but in the exchange we got bishop into g7. Bishop into g7 is kind of forced, or else I don't think there is any play. h6, hitting the bishop, threatening mate in 1. Rook to a7, defending the bishop. Rook to h1, fantastic move again. Rook into f2, pawn push check, king move. If you try to play this, it's mate in 1. So you have to play king f8, the fourth move, and now queen into g7, check, sacrificing the queen. Rook into queen. Rook came trying to hit the queen. No, knight check. The rook cannot capture the knight because the rook is pinned. King moved. Queen takes. Check. Knight to d3. And on the move number 13, Anish with the black pieces decides to resign the game. It's quite simple. The rook is attacked. The bishop is hanging. The king is already in the edge of getting mated. That's quite the reason. And Anish decides to resign. So after simply beating Vidit in the second round, Anish got himself crushed with the black pieces against Shakhriyar Mamedyarov. So a fantastic game played by Shakhriyar Mamedyarov with the white pieces, and again a fantastic game played by Anish Giri with the white pieces against Vidit Gujrathi. So I hope that you have liked the first day of the recap. I think these two were the main games that I liked the most. So if there is any game you want me to analyze, you can tell me in the comment box below. So I'm going to come up with these interesting videos like this. So till then, stay tuned and keep watching One Shot Chess.